What's up, good people? David Taub here, coming to you from nextlevelguitar.com. How you doing? Hope all is well, and hope your guitar journeys are going famously. We've been getting lots and lots of email responses to our latest emails and whatnot, and an overwhelmingly number of the good people, that's you, want simple, easy blues licks. Simple, easy, and fun blues licks. So I'm going to do a whole series where I'm just going to cover a couple of licks in each video. What we're going to be doing for this whole series is we're going to be playing over the jam track that's in C minor. If you don't have that jam track, we have it here on YouTube. And I'll put a link for it in a text box right here, in the YouTube text box, and I'll also try to get it on the screen here. So download that YouTube video that we have that has that jam track. There's a little lesson before that'll give you ideas of what to play, and then the actual 3.5 minutes of the track, okay? And then also, because the jam tracks are such an essential part of the guitar player's, tools for practicing and working on your improvisational skills, if you want 2 more jam tracks, go to this link right here. And what that link is, it's going to send you to a page where you just sign up on our email list, and then we'll send you, after you opt in, we'll send you the 2 free jam tracks, totally free, and these are exclusive. They're not on YouTube. And all you do is it puts you on our email list, which you should be on anyway, because we send out lots of exclusive videos and things like this, like jam tracks, which are not on YouTube, which only our email subscribers get. We also send out articles and newsletters and all kinds of things that might help you along in your guitar journey. So please consider that. Watch this series, and you're going to be getting lots and lots of little blues tricks and licks. Okay? So C minor is the key, and we're going to be using a lot of C minor pentatonic and blues. Remember, it's not just the lick that you need to learn. Also, be listening to when the chord changes, because in many instances, I'll play a certain lick and I'll land on a certain note when the chord changes, and that's what really makes strong solo statements. So you can't kind of just be off there in your own la-la land, soloing along, and the rest of the band or jam track behind you is like, oh, let's reel in Jimmy there. Hey, come on, buddy. What are you doing? You got to kind of be cognizant of what chords you're playing over, and if you really want to make some strong statements, pick certain notes in the certain chords, and I'm going to explain that as we talk about these licks. So it's really, really important that you just don't, to learn the lick, yes, but just don't learn licks. Learn from the lick. What scale does this lick come from? What are the strong accent notes? What notes am I landing on? What chords am I playing over? Why does this lick sound so good? See, that's what's going to really add to your lead and improvisational skills. So many people just learn licks, and then they have a pocket full of licks. Well, when do you use them? You should be able to whip them out in any key and be playing them rhythmically over these changes, right? So just don't learn the lick. Learn from the lick. So the first lick I want to show you is a very easy pull-off lick, but it sounds so cool because it's one of these repeating type licks, and you could just keep repeating it, and it has those cool rhythmic elements to it, and repeating licks are really nice. Here's the way the lick will sound. Okay, so it's an easy lick to play, and we're adding 1 note to that lick. We're adding the major second, which is a great note to play, and let me slow the lick down for you. It'll sound like this. And then I add on it a little variation, and then I do a bend. And that's the lick, and that bend is very important because what I do is I time that lick. At first, I'm playing that lick in the intro to this piece. I was playing it over the C minor chord, but I'm listening to when that F minor 7th chord comes up. And then what I do is I time that lick, so when I get to that bend, see what I'm doing is I'm bending that E flat note on the 11th fret of the high E string up to the F note. And that's why that sounds so powerful, because I'm hitting an F note with a bend right when I go to that F chord, right on that change. So I'm landing on one of the chord tones or the notes that make up that chord. I do that a lot. When I go to the F minor 7th, you'll hear me a lot hit this note, that G sharp. It's a very powerful note in that chord. So I'm picking out the notes in the chord that I'm playing over to emphasize. It's not that hard. You can do it, okay? But first, we're going to learn this lick. And then just work up the speed. And there's so many different variations you could do with that lick. You know, you can go back and forth between your third and fourth finger. You know, it's just the fourth finger. Or just the third. So there's all different things right in that little kind of box we're playing with this little pull-off lick. So our first lick that we're playing is this one. So what I'm doing is I'm barring with my first finger across the high E string and the B string at the 8th fret. I'm playing that interval. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to be adding this note. This note is technically not in the minor pentatonic blues scale. This is the major second. That's a great note to add, though. It's in both the Aeolian and the Dorian modes, which are minor modes. It sounds really cool. So we're going to be adding the D note to this lick. So with an upstroke, play that B string with your first finger barred at that 8th fret. And then with a downstroke, play that D note. That's that 10th fret on the high E string. And pull it off. I'm doing one pick, and then I'm pulling it down. And you're pulling it, because this is barred, you're pulling it off to this note, which is the 8th fret. You're pulling it off to that C note, that root note on the high E string. So it's a little 3 note. So one pick, and then pull that off. And then go back to an upstroke on that. We're really going to pedal off that G note, which is that 8th fret on that B string. So you go back to that note every time. There it is. And that G note, that 8th fret on the B string, and then the next one, you're going to use your pinky and do the pull off. So basically we're pulling off. So now you're going to pull off with your pinky. This is a good exercise to strengthen your pinky. And don't do it. I don't want you to do that. I want you to use your pinky. We want to strengthen that if you haven't been using it. Don't cut off 1/4 of your arsenal of destruction because your pinky's not strong enough. Licks like this will get it stronger. So pull off. So basically you're pulling off. You're picking that E flat note with one pick. That first finger's still barred. That first finger's going to stay barred this whole lick, except when you bend the last note. So you're going to pull off, pick the 11th fret of the high E string, and then pull down, sounding off the 8th fret on the high E string. So here's what we have so far. That's the lick. And then each time, remember, you're pedaling, you go back with an upstroke and get that 8th fret on the B string. So real slow. And then build up the speed. And then the last time what I did was I left out the 3rd finger and I just did. So all I'm doing there again is that upstroke on that G note, 8th fret on the B string, and then I'm picking the 11th fret on the high E string and pulling it off to the high E string 8th fret, because that first finger's barred. It sounds cool because you could just keep rolling that lick. And you could do it just with the 3rd finger. Do it just with the 4th finger. Very cool lick because you can kind of keep rolling it and go back to it. And then the last time, what I'm doing is then I do a big bend where I'm bending a whole step, and notice when I bend, I use as many fingers as possible. I use at least 3 or 4 most of the time, and I'm bending that 11th fret, or that E flat note, 11th fret on the high E string, up to the F note, which is at the 13th fret of the high E string. And you really want to make sure you hit that pitch. So, and try to time it. So when you bend that note, it's at the same time you go to that F minor 7th chord in the jam, because that's a big solo statement. You can kind of hear it. Here's the F minor 7. And that's a really nice bend. So here's the whole lick slow. Well, I hope you like all these easy, fast, and fun blues licks that we're doing in this series. There's 6 of them in this series, so check them all out. And then make sure you download the jam tracks, and I'll put those links in the text boxes right here. Rock on and put that guitar in your hands every day and rip it up. Take care.